This is called Swedish Weave, and as you can see, you work with two colors here. And this blue, which is my complementary or contrasting color, is never actually on the needles. You never actually work with it. You just pass it back and forth between the stitches as you knit in your first color here, which is my orange. So this is the front of the work, and then this is what the back looks like, which is pretty interesting as well. And so this is just worked on plain stocking stitch, but it's made interesting because you have this second color woven throughout the work. So all you need to know how to do for this stitch is knit and purl, and then you will also need to have a second color. You could even use more than one color if you wanted, like maybe do a few rows with a blue and then change to green or whatever you like. You could use a lot of different colors in this, and I think it would also look really nice if your primary color was a self-striping yarn and then you just used a solid color for your weave. That might give an interesting effect. So I think a lot of different ideas you could get from this particular stitch pattern. Okay, so I've cast on 13 stitches with my blue yarn here, and then I'm just going to turn and purl a row with the blue just to get me started here. And at the end of this row, I'm going to actually work my last stitch with both colors. That way I can easily join my second color and get ready for the next row. Okay, so I have one stitch left. I'm just gonna grab my orange yarn here. And I hate working with two yarns. Gonna hold both of those and then purl my last stitch with both the orange and the blue. So now I have joined my second color and I'm ready to go for my next row. Okay, so now I'm ready to go with my first row of the pattern here. I'm just gonna let my orange yarn hang here in the front like this. Then I have my blue in the back that I'm going to be knitting with. So I'm just going to knit, and remember you'll be knitting 2 stitches with this first one. Now I'm going to take that orange yarn, I'm going to put it between the needles so that it's now hanging in the back. Knit my next stitch. I'm going to bring my yarn, my orange yarn, back to the front. And you don't want to carry this or hold this yarn across the work really tightly. You just want to let it be loose. Okay, so I've knit my next stitch. I'm going to move the orange yarn to the back of the work again. And knit my next stitch with the blue. You can already see we have our first little bump there with the orange. Okay, orange is going to come back to the front. Knit the next stitch. Push the orange to the back. Push the orange to the front. Push the orange to the back. Push the orange to the front. So you're just weaving your second color back and forth between the needles, and you're just knitting with your first color. You're never actually knitting with the second color. You're just weaving it back and forth between the needles. Last stitch, yarn is in the front, and knit. Okay, so that's what we have so far. I'm going to turn. I'm just going to let this orange yarn hang over the front, and I'm going to make sure that it's over top of my blue yarn so that it kind of locks it in place around the edge of the work here. So on your purl rows, you want to make sure that your second color is over top of your working yarn. And now I'm just going to purl. And then I'm going to send that orange yarn to the back. And purl. Bring that orange yarn back here. Purl. Slip the orange yarn back. Bring it back towards you. So it takes a little bit of practice to get the hang of this. When I first read how to do this stitch, I kind of really didn't understand it. But then once I got some yarn and needles and tried it, it started to make more sense. And I don't think that I could knit a whole project using this stitch because it's a little time consuming. Maybe just use it as an accent along the bottom of a sweater, or I don't know, something like that. It would look really nice as a bathroom rug if you could knit something that big. Okay, so there's our row 2. This is what we have on the front. And you can pull the yarn, whoops, there's my needle. You can pull your yarn a little bit to even it out, but you don't want to pull it really tightly because it's going to scrunch your work up. You want to make sure that those strands that you're weaving in and out stay loose so they can move with the fabric as it stretches. Okay, so let's do another row here. So I'll be knitting. So what I want to do, I'm going to take my second color, I'm going to take it over top of my blue yarn like this, bring it around to the front of my work, just let it hang, but I want to make sure that it's over that blue strand so it's locked in place at the edge. And then I'm just going to continue as I did before. I'm going to knit my stitch. I'm going to push that orange yarn to the back and knit. Bring the yarn forward, knit, yarn to the back, And this is what we have so far. Looks really neat. And so then, of course, again, you would just turn your work to pearl. And you want to make sure that your orange yarn, or your second color, is over top of the color that you're knitting with, to lock it in place along the edge. See how that's kind of crossed right there? It's locked in on the edge, it's not going anywhere. So I'm going to purl. I'm going to push that yarn to the back and purl. I think there's a pattern for a cowl on Ravelry using this stitch. I'm not sure. If I can find it, I will post a link for you in the video description below. I think it's a free pattern, I'm not sure. Okay, so you're just weaving your second color back and forth and back and forth. Then after this, I'll show you the bind off. Okay. Turn around. So you're going to bind off with your main color. And what I did on my other sample, my orange sample, when I did my bind off, I just did a regular knitted bind off. But for my first stitch, I used both colors. Just knit your first bind off stitch with both colors, and then I dropped my contrast color and then continued with my main color to do the bind off. That way that second color is locked in place there, and then you can just weave in your ends. And then there you go. Got a little bit of color work. And then here's what the orange looked like. Pretty cool stuff.